everyone. Thank you for tuning in with Dr. Leisha, the preacher. Okay. Well, I'm going to leave the comments open for a little bit while I warm up on the topic dating married couples, my experience. You know, I'm not saying that I'm an expert, far from it. However, I can teach based on my experience. And so as I warm up on the topic, I'll allow the chat to be open. I wouldn't be surprised if there are negative comments because this is not a normal topic to talk about. But if someone's being mean, I'll just delete the comment. No big deal. Of course, questions and positive comments are always welcome. It just depends on how positive it is. You know what I mean? Got to keep it clean a little bit. But for the past year, yeah, it's been about a year now, I've been talking to a couple, just talking to them. I have met up with them a few times over the past year, but not many times at all. Just a few times, not many times at all. My focus was to just hear them out. And for me, it took about a year for me to just listen to them, notice how they are as a couple. Just I gave them a whole year to just observe, really, up close a few times, and then mostly from a distance. Just see what they're like, their energy as a couple together. I have not, you know, been in, like sexually involved with these people. Mm-mm, I have not. I'm the kind of person to be sexually involved with me, we all have to have blood work done. Whoever my partners are, there's a process. I don't ever do one night stands. I never do a one night stand. Even with swinging, even with swinging, I require blood work. I want to see blood work and here are my results and blah, 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 blah. So it don't matter what title you slap on my sex. No matter what title you slap on sex, it's the same process to have sex with me. I require blood work. I have taken very good care of my body. I go to the dentist every 6 months. Well, now that I don't have insurance, I can't afford, well, not dental insurance. I can't afford to go every 6 months anymore, but I still go. If I have a problem, I'm there, you know. But I've lived my entire life as a big three. I've been provided by the big three, either through my grandfather, my mom, husband, the big three has been providing for me, through my family forever. So I've always had Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance through the big three from birth through until basically until this last husband, left me, you know, secretly ran off, divorced me, and married a white woman after all those years. Mhm. But for the past year, I've been talking to a couple. And so they're not like the ideal couple. They're not. But there's something about them. There's something about them that I don't mind getting to know. They have me curious about their marriage. I'm curious about their marriage. And I've gotten to know them to the point where I'm ready to not have sex. Now, I'm not ready to have sex with anybody. Whew, that desire is like so gone. But anything else and everything else besides actual physical sex is fair game. Any and everything else is fair game. And that's just because of who I am. Okay, so I have some comments here. One says, "You drove him crazy like my wife did me. That's why I left her." Okay, yeah, that is very possible. And then we have another comment that's saying, "Hi, hi, hi." And then I have another one. "I'm 12 and I have a wife." I believe you. I would not be surprised. I was 5 and I had 3 husbands at 5 because to me, sex is marriage, and I was a molested child from ages 5 through 11 for like 6 years of my life. 3 different uncles had access to me. And so my craziness started very young, started very young. And that's where I learned how to juggle multiple men at once as early as 5 years old when my parents divorced. Once my parents divorced, my life changed, you know. So let me go ahead and turn these comments off. Thank you guys for your comments. That was so exciting. I'm going to go ahead and jump into my topic. And all right, so yeah, children can be married. Children can be married. To me, to me. Now I can't speak for everyone else, but someone, a young man that claimed to be 12 years old was in my comments and said that he has a wife. And I was just letting them know I understand because I considered myself a wife at 5. 3 different uncles had access to me for 6 years until one of them died. When one of them died, when I was 11 years old, for whatever reasons he died, either it was suicide or, you know, he had some help. Either way, until he died, I was juggling 3 different uncles. So from age 11 until 14, my body was mine. When I was 14, I was able to choose for myself for the first time who could touch me. I allowed permission, you know, and that was important to me. It was a part of my healing process, you know. I learned how to heal myself and I went on to live a beautiful life. My teenage years were like the best years ever. Even my middle school years. My middle school years, I mean, I was dancing on TV. It was a TV show called The Scene. Out in California, they had Soul Train. But in Detroit, we had The Scene, okay, with Nat Morris, okay, Fast Freddie, okay. I danced with Fast Freddie, y'all, okay. you know. And so, but anyway, so I danced on The Scene for a couple of years. So my family molested me for all those years. Did not stop me from being an honor student. It didn't stop me from dancing on the scene. I danced for Dudley Randall, a famous poet. I was one of the Birmingham bombing girls in his uh, play, in his poem. He turned his poetry into like plays. And he even invited me to do some type of little Broadway thing or something, but I didn't want to leave my family and go run off with adults doing none of that stuff. So I kept it in the city of Detroit. That was my choice. I remember making that choice for myself as a child. I did not want to run off to California dancing out there. I didn't want to run off with poets, you know, doing Broadway type stuff. I made that choice for myself in middle school. So anyway, so by the time I'm in high school, I am like one of the head cheerleaders. Um, I'm into, I'm an honor student. I do gymnastics, cheering, dance. I was in dance, anything the school had. Because I mean, I already danced for a poet. I already danced on TV. I already could do tap, jazz, modern. I was just like really good. Once I was able to, at age 11, claim my own body for myself. Once I did that, nothing could stop me. When I said nothing, nothing could stop me. And right after high school, I went straight to college, you know, and my energy and my passion for life was just so strong and alive in college till I attracted one of their football players, a black guy from Lansing, Michigan, who had never really, I mean, he had been with hundreds of girls, but they weren't black. As black as he was, he had been with hundreds of girls, but he just wasn't in the sisters. He had love for sisters in his heart. He did. He professed all of that to me. But he just, you know, I guess white girls were easy by the hundreds. You know what I'm saying? Pulling us, he didn't have whatever he felt he needed to pull a sister until he met me. There were sisters interested, in his high school and, middle school and stuff, but the white girls just drowned him out. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until his third year of college, I was a freshman. He meet me and he just knew I had to be his wife. He just knew. It was something, there was just something there. So I helped guide him to me because he was so lost in white girls when I met him. He was so lost. I mean, the brother was like Jonathan Majors kind of situation. And I was all calm and confident and I saw his situation. I saw Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know, stuff like that. So I had an idea, but no, just being serious though, for real. I was being goofy right there. But no, but seriously though, I've done a lot of research on people and I understood that he was from Lansing. He was just not the kind of black boy from Detroit. He just wasn't. And you know, I even had a slight thing with, a nerd from my high school. The smartest boy, one of the smartest black boys in my high school had a thing for me. So I already had like one of the smartest boys in Detroit. Because when we graduated in 1987, my second husband, my high school, like heartthrob, kind of, you know, he graduated the top 3% of all. The top 3%. He has a little award plaque thing. I have graduated like the 3%. So I had already had one of the smartest boys in Michigan in my pocket. I chose not to date the football players and basketball players and stuff in my high school because I did not want to be known as the girl that was ran through by anybody on the basketball team. And when it comes to the football team, nobody on the football team ran through me. But let me tell you what did happen when it comes to the football team. I had already been a cheerleader. Okay. And I was dating a guy older than me, you know. I was dating a guy older than me. He had a car. Okay. He was my scene driver, so my family and his family were friends. And my mom used to pay him to drive me back and forth to the scene to make sure I got there safe and I got home safe. Because, there would be hundreds of people outside of the building wanting to get in. And then they knew who the regulars were. So we were always, escorted in or like signaled in, or, we had a way of getting through the crowd, pushing through. They were looking for us, put it that way. And as soon as they see us, before we know it, we're in there. That's all I know. And so and I always had my little scene card, my little ID, and all that. And I was underage, but my dancing skills were so good. Even though I was underage, there was just a way I got in. I don't know. I was in middle school. I was in middle school, and you were supposed to be 18 and older, but whatever, I was there. So, but I was trained and knew not to mess with those men, and I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of being a molested child, a child of incest. That's incest that I experienced. There's pros and cons to everything. The best thing in this world has pros and cons to it. And the worst thing in this world has pros and cons. Every good and evil thing that exists has its pros and cons to it. So, based on my experience, personal experience in life, I can speak on the pros and cons of molestation and the pros and cons of incest, the pros and cons of being married too young, the pros and cons of observing people that waited too late, you know, stuff like that. Even possibly marrying someone who waited too late, you know. So today we're talking about me and my ability to marry or date married couples. And it all comes from everything I just talked about. It all comes from that. the way I chose to live my life, the way that my family set me up to be able to dance on TV, dance for a famous poet, you know, um, dance at my high school, be a cheerleader. I was in the chess club, in the computer club, and some other stuff that's in this black book that is called Who's Who in American High Schools or something. I don't know, whatever. So I made it to, I was an honor student. So, I was allowed, and I also worked at the local, I was a pharmacy technician in middle school. I mean, like I was just a very unusual kid, a pharmacy technician. Um, Before I hit high school, that summer, the summer between eighth and ninth grade, I became a pharmacy technician. I was a legal drug dealer and proud of it. So I'm not the kind of person that's easily manipulated. I'm not easily, I'm just not easy. I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised to be easy. I was raised to be sought out. I was raised to be precise. I'm 55, about to be 56 years old, and I can still do handstands. I can do a handstand. At this point, I always just do it up against the wall because I am old. I can't act like I'm not my age. So I can do a handstand and dance while I'm doing handstands. Um, do the splits, you know, stuff like that. I can have fun in the handstand position. So whether I'm standing on my feet, standing on my hands, I can dance and have a good time. Is my point. So till this day, I'm disciplined with my body. I go to my doctor's appointments. I get my teeth checked out. You know, I wear my natural hair and cover it the way I want to cover it, whether it's with a hat, a wig, whether it's, some braids, whatever I want to do. I play with my hair, have fun with it. I'm very theatrical. And I raise my children to be dancers, athletes, to pursue whatever they believe they want it to be. Even if I didn't like it, I didn't stop them. I don't have to like it. It's what you want to do. And I raised my children that way. I taught them how to have boundaries so that they can, pass from grade to grade and endure the school district that we chose for them. I had to teach them to create their own boundaries so that they can live the life they want among other people. And until this day, they all still live that way. But what they're all experiencing too at the same time, and divorce is what created this. Divorce created a split where they're dealing with me as a solo person. I am like so different as a solo individual than the woman that raised them in a marriage. So the marriage, Dr. Leisha, was a completely different leader. I was in second position. In second position as the wife, so to speak, the children experienced me in ways that was consistent with other mothers in our community. And I'm a competitive woman. I like being first and, you know, the head of things. And so I was their Girl Scout leader. I was the neighborhood association, eventually the president. And, I'm going to maximize whatever space we occupy. And I trained my children to do the same thing. We maximize the space that we occupy. So when I say that I'm not easy, I mean that I shoot for the positive, but I'm going to catch all that negative, rework it, and make something positive anyway. That's not easy work. That takes time, effort, patience, you know, the stuff that's challenging. Now, some people are not the kind of people that deal with shadow negativity, shadow work, negative work, evil, dark. Well, I've experienced enough evil and darkness where I ain't scared. I go to some dark places with people with my flashlight, my own kind. It's not the kind that, any other company out here has built. It's something from the inside. And I flash that light down in the trenches with people to get a message across, to tell them something that maybe nobody else can say to them because they so deep in they shit. But for some reason, I'm there with a damn flashlight. You know what I'm saying? you know, for some reason. But you guys have to understand that Most High contracted my inner self to do that. There are people that can be so deep in a marriage, so dark in a marriage, so negative in a marriage that they just then dug such a deep hole that they just don't know. They just never been there before and don't know how to get out of that stuff. Because see, there are things that you can do as a couple that you would never do as an individual. You've always been your controlled, individual, disciplined self. Now that you with this person, among these people, now you find yourself exploring. Now you find yourself compromising. Now you find yourself blending and mixing and adapting. Now you are no longer the individual you used to be. Some people are okay with mixing and blending their energy, their spirit, their identity, with new people. But then some people just cannot do it. Their individual self will always have a greater presence than their ability to blend, mix with family and friends, with lovers, husbands, and wives. So throughout my life, I've been able to hang with people who come from and or were experiencing some of the most heavy, suicidal, homicidal, crazy stuff. I mean, like, I don't even have to like look for these people. They find me. They find me. Trust. I'd rather still keep my peace as an individual. But these people find me. And once you give them an inch, that's it. You know, you look up, years go by. They're still there. So I tend to attract married couples that have been together a very long time. Usually, each of them have been divorced already, and they're some type of blended family of some sort. And that only makes sense because that's my experience in life. From my childhood, you know, and then I raised my kids that way, and my grandchildren are experiencing something similar. So I tend to attract other partners whose families have non traditional situations, you know, similar family issues that I've experienced. Whether they talk about it or not, whether they admit it or not, once I get to know them, the little flashlight, my inner flashlight comes out and I can see what's going on in their lives. It doesn't take long. I can say, oh, wow. Yep, that was in my family too. you know, and from my own experience, I can know if I can navigate through something or not when I meet new people. And all I know is that men with military experience, I connect with those dudes. I don't necessarily need to be their wife per se. I need to be able to go to my barracks, my own room, my own bed when I want to, get some rest. But when I'm up, I'm ready. Whether I'm on my feet or on my hands, I can perform. I'm ready to dance. But sometimes I need my own bed, my own space, because I like my bed made a certain way. I like my sheets washed, you know, on a schedule. I like using certain laundry detergents. I can, like, I'm just very precise with everything. And if there is an area in my life that I allow to get buck wild, like I don't like washing dishes that much anymore. I used to be so anal with my dishes, but these days, over the past few years, I could care less about dishes. I mean, there's a point where, I just do what I do, but that's an area in my life that I choose to relax in. I don't care. you know, but my clothes are color coordinated in my closet, color coordinated, and like my shirts are hung up by like sleeve, not only by color, but by like short sleeve, mid sleeve, long sleeve, and things are throughout my house, even where there's color, because I love like colorful walls and I like color throughout my house. Even if I have to paint it back white, on the way out, no problem. But while I'm there, I need to be able to express myself or allow other people to. I don't mind other people's work. A lot of the designs on my walls uh, was designed and applied by other people. I consider it like artwork. hmm But anyway, I love art. Oh my God, I love art. I like going to the thrift stores and finding inexpensive art. You know, I like textured art. So anyway, I've been talking to a couple for the past year in a non-sexual way, and I'm still not ready for the sex yet because to me, sex is a type of marriage. We're used to marriage being legal paperwork you file at the government office. That's what we're used to considering marriage to be. When you strip away the cake, when you strip away the dresses and limousines and preachers and stuff, at the end of the day, to us, marriage is not anything until you register a piece of paper at the courthouse. You're not married until that's done. That's what it boils down to now. But for me, whether sex happens before the court date or after the court date, and I've experienced both. I've experienced with the second marriage, waiting until after marriage, his request, not mine. I wanted to live together, and be sexual before legal marriage. I wanted to, but he didn't. So we waited. We waited. I didn't talk to or touch anyone else. I waited. Why not? I'm very adaptable, very flexible. I can stand on my hands and on my feet and have a great time. Remember, that's me. Hey, treat me like a virgin. Hey, I like that. You know, I mean, Madonna, that was a very cute song, Madonna, She from Michigan. You know, there's nothing wrong with being like a virgin. There's nothing wrong with it. I got treated like one. After all of that, and now I'm treating myself like one. How about that? I have not, I've been out on dates here and there, very few in between. But I don't mind going out and having a good time. But I just do not want to be committed to people. Right now, I'm willing to spend a little bit more time with this couple now that I think that I understand them a little bit better. Now that I believe I understand myself a little better. I think I see the pros and cons of them being in my life. And as long as I don't put myself out there sexually, then I won't feel like I have a, committed relationship with them in a way that is that is marriage type. You know, I can continue enjoying their marriage with them and they can continue enjoying my individuality with me. I'm at the point now where I've learned them together over the past year. I've learned them together. Now, spending a little more physical time with them, maybe, you know, more dinners together, more times out together. You know, we have like a favorite place to go out where we meet. Otherwise, I just meet them at their home. They're older. We're all old. I'm 55 and they're like in their 60s. So we're older people, you know, they don't have any kids and grandkids running around. So to me, their little place is like a love shack, a little place where we can get together. A love shack, baby. I actually did a dance with a mom's group to Love Shack. So, and I actually had a costume, a Love Shack costume we had designed. That is so silly. So anyway, maybe I'll take that picture and put it on this. It's like the thumbnail photo thing. So I have like a little love shack with them at their crib, and then we can take it to our favorite place, a place where couples interact with their singles, or other couples. It's a couples club. There you go, a couples club, and they invite you know singles in with different themes or other couples, events or whatever. So for whatever lifestyle you desire, there is a place for it out there. That's America for you. That's what I like about America. Whatever you're into, you can find support. Yeah. You can find, your bros, your sis. You can find some people that think the way you think, act the way you act. Somewhere. So as I spend more time with them, now I can kind of in the natural. Because see, I've gotten to know them like in the spiritual realm, just listening, observing. Hold on. Oh shoot. Mm. I'm gonna have to get off here soon. But in the spiritual realm, just observing with because I didn't spend a lot of physical time with them the first year, very little physical. Most of the communication was just, verbal, texting, you know, um, things like that. And then the occasional meeting up. But now it's shifting. And it even went through a phase of no contact. It even went through that phase too. A lot is communicated even then. The way people respond to you when there's a reconnection, you know, reveals a lot of what was going on when you weren't in contact. So silence speaks volumes. Silence can speak volumes. Secrecy, deception, lies, hiding, all that offers communication. Things that are unseen, things that are unheard, all still offers some type of communication in the right light, under the right light. I keep talking about this inner flashlight I have to see things. So, based on what I've learned over the past year, listening to this couple, their marriage, whether coming from reporting from him or reporting from her, there's a male perspective of the marriage and there's a female perspective of the marriage. That's why I have two ears. I have two eyes, two nostrils, two arms, two legs, so that I can discern and balance out masculine and feminine energy, regardless to which gender, regardless to a person's gender. I can sense and discern masculine and feminine energy coming from each body, regardless to their gender. That's my gift. I don't know about other people. That's my ability, my register of from the eternal deficit of mankind theory. That's how I'm calibrated. Now, somebody else's register at the same office, department, you know, may be calibrated a little different based on the work that they're doing, based on what their contract is with Most High, the outcomes that they are being evaluated for. They're calibrated different, but my calibration is the gift of being able to see the obvious and the things that are unseen, that are not obvious. Regardless to the gender of a person, their individual feminine and masculine energies. And people may say, well, women don't have any masculine energies. Technically, if they're XX chromosome, males are the only ones that have an X and a Y, a feminine and a mystery. Well, masculine. Well, there's something that happens during conception where women have some type of untraceable, unseen access to masculine energy. Just just enough to be able to push a whole male out of her body. You know, just enough. It's not the kind, it's not in the amount. Again, I was a pharmacy technician in middle school. By middle school, I had already juggled three male energies right in my family. In middle school, high school, the boy that I chose to date for myself, like eighth, ninth grade, that transition from middle school to high school, I dated the same boy during the months of that transition. So, and both our families were well aware of each other, well connected, you know. So anyway, a part of my job here on earth, a part of my existence, my purpose, my calling, um, my passion, ultimately is this theory called the eternal deficit of mankind. And it is calibrated to detect, interpret, even adjust if necessary, masculine and feminine energies within marriage of a man and a woman. That's my life experience. That's my specialty. Now, I probably have the ability to do it with other couple combinations like two women, two men, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But that's not my calling. It's not my specialty. It's not in my contract to transfer those skills. Not in the natural, anyway. Not in the natural, per se. Now, I have, kind of tested it out a little bit. I'm willing, but other people are not willing. So it don't work. You got to have willing people. So the male and female combination, those tend to be the willing partners for my calibration, my contribution to the eternal deficit of mankind theory that I'm working on, that there are other people working on it too, whether they know it or not, have a name for it or not. Eventually, we're all going to connect and come together because I know mine's is just a part of it. There has to be other people working on what I'm working on. Somehow, some way, we're all going to come together. And my contribution will be the evaluation of married couples based on a lifetime of experience, even being legally married for 32 years, specializing in Black people. I could have married somebody white or of any other race. There were opportunities on my journey, but my I specialize. But this particular couple that I've been talking to for a year and I'm willing to spend a little bit more time with for my reasons, and they have their reasons. Okay. And they're a white couple. They're a white couple. I'm not having sex with anybody right now outside of myself, so it doesn't matter the color at this point for me. I'm past the point in life where color matters because I'm not having sex with every couple I meet. And I'm past the point of having children and don't intend to. So, and the only kids that I'm into right now are my grandkids. And that's just because I want to. I want to help with them. You know, because I adopted and raised some other women's kids and fostered, and cared for other people's kids, I owe it to my own bloodline to be available. I can't do more for the world than I do for my own. And I became guilty of that. I became guilty of giving people that were not a part of my bloodline just as much and sometimes more than my own bloodline. I became guilty, which is a part of my individual eternal deficit of mankind. How my inner light is calibrated and communicated to the world. So I'm in the season for the reason of making up, compensating my own bloodline for what I freely gave away to the world, to people that were not of our blood. That's how I personally owe Most High here on earth, me personally, based on my theory of generational wealth and legacy. I have to compensate to my children and grandchildren for the overage that I freely gave away to other families, or allow other families to steal from us. Some families just overtook from us. They're in debt to us, whether they know it or not. When you steal from one family to bless your own, when you don't ask for what you're getting from a family, that's thieving. When me and my kids and grandkids do wrong, I make sure I step up and try to square it up as soon as I can. Anybody that come from my womb, I'm responsible. We don't teach like this anymore today. And that's how we keep coming up short. But more of us need to step up. If you're the oldest in your bloodline, you keep everybody in the line straight. And teach everybody else to care enough on how to deal with the ones who don't want to stay in line. There is always a bloodline leader. And when you're dealing with married couples, one of them will dominate the marriage. We are trained in America that it should be the man. That's how we're trained. It should be the man. But sometimes it is the woman. It depends on the skill level of the man. It depends on his skill level. And that's what a woman's job is, to be a helpmeet. Wherever that man is lacking in his leadership ability and skills, she better be ready. She better be ready in order to keep the family going. She better be ready, or her kids will feel the pressure. Where they fail as a married couple, where she is unable to fill in, where he, falls short, the kids will fill it. So that's how I was able to push through 32 years of the best and worst part of marriage equally. Equally. I had to deal with the bad part of marriage just as well as I dealt with the good part. The good part is easy, fun, happy days, family vacations, and blah, blah, blah. But you got to be ready to deal with the bad days just as committed as you are with the good ones. That's the only way to stay balanced. You got to fill up both sides of the butterfly wing, the good and the bad. Hang in there for both in order to fly as a family. As a family, just like when you take a flight from one city to the next, they are not going to depart until everyone is accounted for, period. And that's how families need to function. You're not going to depart. You're not going to separate. You're not going to leave anyone behind. You're going to fly together. That's the position I'm taking with my bloodline. The people that I believe I oversee, which is myself only, my two children that I gave birth to, as long as they're willing participants, willing to stay in line of their own life. They were raised to live their life, the good and the bad, as full as possible. Max that shit out. Whether you're living on your good side of life or your bad side of life, max that shit out. So when you're done, you're done. You can fly and go to the next level. That's the only way to get to the next level. You got to max out the level beneath you. You have to build a solid foundation. Cross your T's and dot your I's from level to level. Keep winning. Keep gaining access. So, as I get to know each couple or this particular couple local, I will learn more about him individually. I'll learn more about her individually. It's just a natural part of the process of getting to know them is getting to know him and getting to know her. They have a them, which is the marriage, and then there's a he, and then there's a she. And I'm willing to be their friend, hold their hand, you know, based on what's comfortable for me. And they're willing to hold my hand and be my friend based on what is comfortable for them. It requires communication from a male and female perspective. And I do still have, plenty of male energy in my own life. I have 7 grandsons that have their own spirits, their own souls, their own minds. That's a lot of men to manage in my own bloodline. 7 grandsons. They have their own nations within them. That's a lot of energy to, you know, oversee, have an influence on. So I don't have a lot of time at this point in my life for a legal husband of my own. Again, when it's time for me to lay my head down, I need to be able to rest. Because when I wake up, I have 7 boys to influence and a granddaughter too. I have 2 daughters. And I'm looking at their lives every day, praying over them, thinking of them, meditating on them every day, smiling. Sometimes my eyebrows go up at them like, oh my God, what did they do today? Lord have mercy. But they're mine. And I'm watching them, every one of them. Some days I'm just like, yes. And some days I'm like, okay, we got more work to do. We got shadow work. Boy, do we have shadow work. But it feels good to show them this side of myself, who I am as an individual. They've only known me as that married woman in second position. That's all they knew. And now they're experiencing me, divorced solo, the matriarch, who is good with this. And when I need to interact with other adults, I have these couples that I can interact with. They will understand my language. I understand their language based on just years of life experience of my own. You know, having kids and grandkids. That's why I like being friends with couples my age. They have kids and grandkids. They know what I'm talking about, whether I'm married or not, currently. The conversation is still the same. I still have 32 years of married experience to draw off of. None of the couples I'm talking to have hit 30 yet, 30 years of marriage yet. None of them. So I'm still ahead of them. That's the beauty of older couples. Some older couples, they might be 60 and 70 years old, but only been married like 10 years. I can still always throw my 32 years in their face. You know what I'm trying to say? All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to me just express myself, out here on YouTube, trying to explain my theory using biblical concepts, my personal life, current events, politics. I just kind of stir it all up, mix it all up. But polygamy, polygamy, polyamory, polyandry, all these different type of polys, having multiple partners of some type of another. It's nothing new. It's nothing new, but it's something that we need to talk more about. We need to communicate. In fact, I think I'll read some of the social rules created, shared in Numbers. I think it's in Numbers that explain, you know, where to draw the lines with all this, multiple relationships, whether you legally married or not. Adults are doing what they want to do sexually, emotionally, spiritually, with who they want, when they want. Very little discretion, very little boundaries. It's buck wild. I mean, we're told it's sinful and shameful and but at the same time it's wonderful too. It's like, whoa, there's a wonderment in it, as well. So I'm willing to report out on a little bit that I, gained from it. The little bit I talk about really don't hold a candle to a lot of these people, but I'm willing to still talk about it because a lot of people still willing to. Is Caden okay? Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, hold up, Lori. I have plans. We'll talk. Yeah, so I have family demands. I have, yeah, my kids, grandkids. They have their little demands on my life, and then I'm trying to, have a little social life. So squeeze it into not a lot of time for it, and it's how I prioritize my own life, how I choose to prioritize. All right, guys, let me get on off. You all be blessed today and every day. Every day be blessed. Every day stay balanced. Give Most High all the praise, all the credit, all the honor that He is due. And also do that to everybody in your life, yourself, and, people in your bloodline, and those people outside of your bloodline that are supportive of you and yours, and are supportive and kind and, willing to grow and learn with you. Click like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can keep up with your girl. And I'm not monetized anywhere on social media yet, but I do have PayPal for any donations or love offerings. It's Dr. Leisha the Preacher, just like on my channel. You all be blessed. Have a great day. Love your family. Love yourself. Take care of you and yours first. Bye.